Welcome to the new episode of Voice of Web3 powered by CoinGate, where we dive deep into the world of blockchain, crypto, and Web3 with the innovation shaping the future. I'm your host, Yali, and today we have an extraordinary guest who's at the forefront making Ethereum scalable, Sandy Peng, co-founder of Scroll. Before we begin, folks, we work hard to bring you this exclusive podcast and insights, so don't forget, do like and subscribe of Voice of Web3 channel. Your support means a lot to us and keep us motivated to work even harder. So, Sandy is at forefront of scaling one of the crypto's most pressuring challenges, Ethereum scalability. Her work with Scroll leverages the revolutionary technology of ZK Rollups to make Ethereum faster, more affordable, accessible to the masses. Under her leadership, Scroll has already achieved significant milestones, including the successful listing of its native token on Binance, making waves in the crypto community. But today we want to discuss not only about tech, it's more about opportunity. So if you're a crypto investor or fintech enthusiast, Sandy's insight into ZK Rollups, roadmap of Scroll and what's next for its native token holders and refines how you think about the future of blockchain. So Sandy, welcome to Voice of Web3. How is it going? Glad to see you here.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. It's my first time being on the show, so It's always great to meet a new audience, and excited to share what we've been building at Scroll.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. We are really happy to have you, and I'm pretty sure that your product is really important and for Web3 space, and it's really on hype at the moment. But let's start from the very beginning. Can you share your journey, how you joined Web3 space, and why you join not only crypto, but it's kind of technical side?
Yeah. I think you were mentioning about hype. I think hype is a two-edged sword for builders and projects like us who are very heads down on building a very long-term product of what we believe to be the best holistic blockchain solution. Hype can sometimes come a little bit too much and sometimes can cut the other way. But either way, I think the team is heads down building, and we have a very clear vision of where we want to be. So I think for us, the Scroll is building the most holistic blockchain solution. That means while not compromising security principles, we want to be as performant as possible. And we are working at the forefront of scaling technology. So I think we're constantly kind of trying to improve our proving cost, improve transaction cost, but all of this is under the principle of making no security compromises. The first principle thinking is that blockchain is fundamentally the underlying layer of an open economy, and also it is the value layer of the internet. So being secure is the first and the most important hallmark of this layer. Otherwise, we might as well be building on a server. So with these principles in mind, we're actually just kind of we're building towards a very clear goal of sub-cent transactions, and we're building towards 10,000 TPS, and we're going to get to about 1K TPS within the next few months, and that's going to unlock a lot of use cases related to the open economy of the internet.
Yeah, thank you. So we will back to your personal story a bit later, as you started to speak about Scroll.
Yeah, we can talk about my personal story too.
But let's speak about Scroll then, as you already started to discuss it. It's really important. We understand it, but I think it's not in the mass. It's not understandable for the mass. So can you, in easiest words, explain what is ZK Rollups?
Yeah, of course. So zero knowledge is a mathematical primitive, and the idea is that you can kind of Okay, so there's a story about why we're called scroll. It's because ZK proofs is something where you can pack a lot of transactions into one
Mhm.
scroll and roll it up into a very, very small proof. Kind of like the scroll, you can unpack it so it's a very so it can record a lot of data and information, or you can roll it up into a very, very small roll, kind of like the transaction proving. And so that's why we're called scroll. And ZK is a very special mathematical primitive where you can pack a lot of transactions into one proof and post it on Ethereum to make it more efficient and amortize the cost over the long run. So over the last 2 to 3 years, ZK have been very kind of very quickly getting faster and improving at a very breakneck speed. Um, and I think I expect that to continue. What that means is that we're getting very close to real-time proving, and that means
Mhm.
almost instant finality. And what is that like? Well, basically, what that unlocks is a future of finance where there is no rollback and where finality settles almost immediately, and that will unlock a lot of the transactions which happens kind of in the remittance use case, and also in the payment use case, and in a future in 3 to 5 years where there are multitude of AI agents managing your assets. The finality feature also means there can be better and much stronger experience of interchain interoperability.
Yeah, you've mentioned some use cases. Can you make it more clear, like to show it in practice? For example, I am a Ethereum blockchain user. How this helped me using this blockchain or to do some transactions, etc. Just can you name some real examples?
Yeah, so the real example is that as you bridge from Ethereum L1 to Scroll the L2 and vice versa through the Scroll official bridge, the time to a final settlement is very short compared to every other chain. That means when you are trying to balance your books between different chains, this is an advantage because you don't lose days during this process. So humans cognitively can manage these things, and most DeFi user behaviors currently indicates that people allocate different parts of their capital to different chains, precisely because of this time to rebalancing that's required between different chains, different L2s that currently exist. But what Scroll will create is a new behavior where kind of L1 to L2 bridging is instantly settled. And for large amounts of capital, or for capitals that are managed by these like smart agents, this is something that will start to cut into the bottom line and have significant kind of noticeable yield improvements.
And how Scrolls is stand out from other competitors? What is the difference?
We don't really think about other competitors. I think we're here to build the open economy, and and I think there's a lot of room to grow. We're not particularly focused on the current Web3 user set alone. For us, the real opportunity is about helping those who are previously unbanked, or helping those economies who are previously not on chain, and also unlocking and reducing cost in use cases where there were previously a lot of middlemen that are unnecessary. So I think it's still a very, the entire industry is in the very early innings of distribution. Product go to market. So this is at this stage, we don't look at our competitors, but I think it's very clear how Scroll will and is already differentiating. It's kind of putting security first. It's about being as scalable as possible without compromising any security principles.
Yeah, thank you. Let's back to your journey. Can you tell us how you joined Web3? Why you join specifically technical side? Because it's really not often happen when women founder of this technical project.
Oh,
Why
so I'm
scroll? Why scroll? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm the non-technical co-founder in the project. So I run business ops and also marketing. And it's a very I've taken a relatively maybe unusual journey into Web3, but the whole process has just been guided by interest and curiosity. So I joined Web3. I discovered Bitcoin about 2013 or 14. Bitcoin white paper. I was covering fintech as a researcher for the SFC, which is the securities regulator in Hong Kong. And covering fintech means about identifying emerging trends, and particularly emerging trends that have a very strong financial aspect adjacent to it. And Bitcoin, the first kind of P2P electronic cash network, which is borderless and also slowly gaining traction back then, was something that really piqued my interest. um, kind of about and then I kind of got deep and then I started building my own kind of Web3 fund in about 2017. That
Mhm.
was a really interesting experience where I started kind of to research more and more infra projects. In 2017 and 18, there was a flurry of different layer ones emerging, and ICO had already become super popular, and people were using Ethereum for various use cases that were very early and experimental. So the stage was set for me to dive deeper and deeper into protocol research. What triggered the kind of the launch of Scroll was on a macro level, there was a very fast development of ZK primitives being ready for application. So Zcash notably was getting market traction and being product ready. And second of all, Aztec was quickly ramping up as the privacy use case of layer two of Ethereum. And down those lines, I was kind of getting deeper and deeper into reading about the subject matter, and met my co-founders, who was a researcher in ZK.
Yeah, thank you. You really done with long journey to this industry, and it's clear that you are really like have a great expertise. Back to Scroll, I want to clear one moment, so one rumors, because news about your recent airdrop has appeared in the top media. This announcement of Scroll Layer 2 token airdrop has sparked some frustration among some users, and it's been widely discussed. And we would like to hear your side and bring some clarity. Can you explain the reason behind this reaction? How does Scroll plan to address these concerns raised of the community? Because I remember that Hamster Combat has pretty the same community discussion.
Mm, so I think objectively speaking, we're very grateful for our community for all of their support. We've launched our mainnet almost a year ago, and launched something called what we called the Marks Incentive Program about a few months ago, and that led up to our TGE. And we're having like a lot of capital on chain, and having a lot of people interacting with the protocols on Scroll has been super helpful in terms of testing the product and getting use case and helping the projects on Scroll kind of trying to test out their product market fit. We've previously taken a very open and incredibly neutral approach to ecosystem building. And so that means there's a flurry of different parties and different teams building on the Scroll ecosystem. And we try to play very fair and support everyone in a way that is very transparent, and also we try to be as helpful as we can. I think for someone who bridged into Scroll for the last year, any amount of capital, if they didn't take on, so there were people who decide to take on more risk with various protocol interactions, and those who decide to take on less risk. But generally speaking, for those kind of capital that didn't take on an extortionate amount of risk, who didn't do many kind of rounds of looping on lending protocol, for example, the average return is about 10% annualized. One could argue that is high or low, that is a matter of opinion. I think we want to make sure, we wanted to make sure that all of our community members are happy. But I
Yes.
think the amount of airdrop that we dropped to, so we dropped to about more than 500,000 wallets. And then also the controversy is mostly around the fact that our airdrop was linear. So that disproportionately favored whales, arguably. And but to address that, we added a 1% flat boost for users towards the middle to bottom end of the wallet sizing. And another perhaps controversial decision is the fact that we have decided to compensate cover the gas costs for Canvas
Mhm.
users. And so that wasn't very clearly, the expectation wasn't very clearly communicated prior. And I think that's another reason for the for some community upset. But overall, I think I think it's a very, very large airdrop in terms of the number of people covered, and in terms of how evenly distributed it is. Statistically, it is one of the most like evenly distributed airdrop in recent history. So if you think of like the airdrop is distributed as a nation, then we have a very low Gini coefficient, which means most of the airdrop went to the middle size of the wallet as opposed to the top or the bottom end.
Yeah, and like last questions about these airdrops, because I see this similar situation in the wall industry. That's why I want to discuss it and to have your opinion. Partially, some media wrote that these airdrop tokens were given to Binance Launchpool, which created the situation where like Binance whales or any other whales just grabbed most of the tokens, and it's a bit like different from the decentralized economy. So, what can you say on that?
Mm, I think the Binance Launchpool is a very tried and tested product for for price discovery and initial distribution. There is a cap to how much one can gain from the Binance Launchpool. So there is an intention to make sure it is evenly distributed. And as a distribution product, I think there is a reason why it exists in the market, and I think it did help us reach a wider kind of Binance community, which we previously didn't have access to. So I think as a product, I think it's a very reasonable product, and in terms of whether it is you know so I
Okay. So let's speak then about listing on Binance, because it's really a dream of every crypto startups to be listing on Binance. Uh, can you tell more about how the process is to be listed on Binance? Because there are many myths around Binance leasing. Some say that costs of million of dollars to lease. Some say it depends on the trading volume, popularity of the token. Can you please give us more details on that?
I can't speak to how other listings are done. I think
Yeah.
I'm sure they have their own kind of listing criteria, and we were invited to participate in the launch pool, and we decided it was a very good opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and is there any kind of processing how to be listed? So, how they agreed to list it, your scroll native token? Is it because of the technology? Am I right?
So I think in our case, it's probably a combination of a multitude of reasons. I'm sure every decision is different. This question is probably better addressed by the Binance team. From our perspective, we see Binance as a great distribution platform and a good partner for reaching to a wider ecosystem. And from our perspective, it is also something where our builders in the emerging market have asked for repeatedly. This is something that will unlock a lot of the use cases that we intend to build, and our existing on-chain community might not understand or might not think that's fair, but I think we intend to do right by them. And if we build a thriving ecosystem, then that is a situation where the rising tide can lift all boats.
Yeah, and looking ahead, what are the key milestones and updates that Scroll SCR token holders should anticipate in the coming month? How do you see developments aligned with Scroll long-term vision and strategy?
So our long-term strategy is to continue to build out the best holistic blockchain, and that means being as performant as possible while not compromising security primitives. And I think a lot of institutional use cases and a lot of cross-border and remittance and international use cases will find this particular product particularly useful. And also our compatibility features means any general purpose EVM apps can build and thrive on Scroll as well. So,
Yeah, and the next
mhm.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, the next question is maybe it's too manipulative, but I know that Scroll's token investors really want to know it, and I know that our audience for sure interested in your project. With the growing, in general, with the growing adoption of layer 2 solutions and Ethereum Surge, what are your predictions for Scroll native token in the next few years? What is your
uh,
predictions for token price, if you can say?
yeah, I don't really pay attention or look at token price. I think as long as our product continues to get better and our ecosystem project founders continue to get better, the entire ecosystem and this sense of open economy will get stronger and more vibrant as time goes on.
Yeah, okay. So you speak a lot about your communities. Airdrops are a never-ending hunt for crypto investors. We need to know what's next. Meme coins or layer 2 tokens will be like bullish in the next year.
Whether meme coins will be bullish in the next year?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a personally a meme coin connoisseur. I can see how popular it is and how much it is capturing popular attention. It could be seen as a way to engage with popular culture, but I think this is not something I'm an expert on.
Maybe layer 2 tokens
Um,
that grow in the 2025.
what's the question? Layer 2 tokens, how layer 2 tokens will grow?
Can you name layer 2 tokens that will grow in the next year?
Okay. So I think any team that is heads down building and providing value to ecosystem founders and exploring novel use cases and also discovering use cases that is uniquely fit for their technology set will do really well.
Yes, and maybe any crypto unicorn that you admire.
I think there are a lot of crypto unicorns that I admire. All of them have a commonality of having found product market fit, and that is something that will take a while to explore. But with enough focus on the users and enough focus on different use cases, I don't think that's out of reach for any builders out there. So I think the call to action would be if you are someone who wants to learn how to build in Web3, if you're someone who wants to learn how to be a better founder, we have a program that is coming out soon towards the end of the year called Level Up. So go to levelup.xyz. It's part of the Scroll Developer and Builder Activation Program. You can take a lot of free courses and very practical Solidity learning courses that will lead you to developing whatever product that you want. And I think what's in great shortage of the in the entire ecosystem is people who are focused on finding real problems to tackle. There isn't a shortage of talent anywhere, but the focus on finding real problems and real product market fit is a skill set that is missing. So if you're listening to this podcast, go check out levelup.xyz. And if you want to interact with Scroll, there's a number of projects on Scroll that are really fun to play with. So go ahead and explore.
Yeah, last question, and you're free. Could you give like a piece of advice to our listeners?
Um, I think ignore the noise and keep building. Whether you're building a podcast, you're building content, and building research, or building a crypto product, or building or writing code, this is a fantastic time to invest in yourself and invest in upgrading your knowledge and invest in leveling up your entrepreneurial game if you're on the founder journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for your answers, for your insights, for your like information, for your like you were open with us, and we really appreciate it. And I think everything is clear, everything is really interesting. So thank you for joining. If you have any updates, we are welcome to know them and produce it to our audience.
Great. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yes,
Take care.
thank you.
Follow
Uploading.
the voice of Web3.
Yes, yes, for Voice of Fat Free.